You've seen the pitch, the promise of $1 million business run entirely by one person and a massive stack of AI tools. As a founder, you face a brutal math problem. Increasing revenue usually means hiring more people, which eats your profit margins and adds layers of management friction. Automation has evolved from simple data transfers into agentic decision-making, software that actually evaluates and acts on your behalf. But that autonomous leverage comes with a hidden cost, the implementation tax. Setting up these systems requires massive friction, and delegating decisions to AI introduces serious systemic risk. We are going to evaluate 5 specific high-leverage AI tools through a strict return on investment lens to see what actually works. Knowing which platforms offer immediate administrative relief and which demand a complete overhaul of your operations is the difference between scaling your business and breaking it completely. To scale an AI operation, you have to stop doing tasks yourself and start directing logic. Traditionally, scaling meant filling out an org chart, hiring sales development reps, operations managers, advertising agencies, and administrative assistants. Today, those specific roles are being replaced by the 5 AI tools we are evaluating. To evaluate them, we are using this effort versus impact matrix. The vertical axis tracks setup friction, the actual time and technical skill required to deploy the tool. This horizontal axis tracks direct business leverage, how much actual revenue impact the tool generates. We will plot every tool on this board, so you can visually calculate if the upfront effort is actually worth the promised outcome. We start with Fathom. This acts as an administrative replacement that connects directly to your calendar and runs quietly in the background of your video calls. It records the conversation with perfect recall, generates a searchable summary, and instantly routes action items to specific team members in Slack or email. The trade-off is straightforward. It takes 5 minutes to set up, but it doesn't directly close deals or generate new cash. That puts Fathom firmly in the bottom left quadrant, low effort and low direct impact. Next is Gamma, which functions as an aesthetics engine. You feed it raw text, bullet points from a meeting, or unstructured business ideas. In minutes, it outputs highly polished pitch decks and landing pages, ready for client meetings or capital raises. You save hours of formatting and design work, but the risk is a generic visual style. And if your core business offer is flawed, a pretty deck won't fix it. Gamma sits right here next to Fathom in the low impact and low effort zone. These low friction tools buy back massive chunks of your week, but they rely entirely on your own human discipline to execute the work that actually generates revenue. Moving up the operational tier, we have Icon. This platform essentially functions as an automated advertising agency. To make it work, you connect it to your website, feed it your competitors' URLs, and provide baseline creative prompts. The system generates hundreds of ad variations, pushes them live to test performance, scales the winners, and kills the weak performers, all without human intervention. But the implementation tax is steep. You have to commit significant actual ad spend to feed the algorithm's learning phase, and surrendering creative control introduces a high risk of brand drift. That pushes Icon into the high-effort, high-impact zone. Letting an algorithm run your creative testing can multiply your lead flow, provided you have the budget required to let it learn. To handle that new lead flow, we look at Atlas, an AI voice system that acts as a 24-hour sales development representative. The technical requirements here are heavy. You must deeply integrate Atlas with your CRM, your website lead forms, and your sales team's calendars so the AI has strict conversational context. The payoff is immediate speed to lead. When a prospect fills out a form, Atlas calls them instantly with a human-sounding voice, qualifies them, and books a meeting on your calendar. However, if an AI agent hallucinates or gives incorrect pricing on a live call, you burn a hot prospect and permanently damage your brand's reputation. This puts Atlas on the extreme right of the matrix. It offers massive direct revenue generation, but delegating live customer conversations demands rigorous oversight. It is an operational high-wire act. Finally, there's Gumloop. This is the overarching operational brain capable of replacing entire departments. The input phase is grueling. You will spend hours manually mapping out complex visual workflows, defining specific logic routing, and connecting disparate APIs together. Once built, the AI autonomously makes logic-based decisions inside your processes, like reading and scoring job applicant resumes, or reconciling your daily financial accounts. The tax here is a steep technical learning curve, constant API maintenance, and total blind trust in the logic pathways you constructed. That lands Gumloop in the absolute top right corner of our matrix. This is the true engine of the zero-employee business, but running it requires you to abandon daily execution and become a full-time systems architect. Looking at this completed board, your deployment strategy depends entirely on your current operational reality. If you are a solo bootstrapper, you have zero budget to burn on bad ad variations and absolutely no time to manage broken API connections. Your play is to stay out of the high-friction zone entirely, implement Fathom and Gamma to reclaim 10 hours a week, and pour that time into product development. On the other hand, if you are a scaling operator, your problems are different. You are bleeding leads due to slow follow-ups and failing to optimize your marketing spend. You have to pay the high implementation tax, deploy Atlas, Icon, and Gumloop to build an internal, scalable acquisition engine without hiring an outside agency. Your correct tool stack depends purely on whether you need immediate time savings today or the capability for systemic growth tomorrow. There is one critical rule to understand before deploying any of these platforms. AI will never run a business for you. It only scales the foundational logic you have already built. If your manual sales process lacks a clear script or strong qualifying questions, plugging Atlas into it simply scales a broken process at light speed. You must optimize and solidify the human version of your business first. Only then do you point the AI at it. Real leverage comes from building unbreakable human systems before the automation even begins.